What's up, guys? This is Dylan.
I am Quinn.
And we are back for another WandaVision video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the little bell icon so you know when we drop more videos. And don't forget to check out the website at www.broken.picturesno.com. Me.
And in this video, we're going to be talking about the series finale of WandaVision, which is episode 9? Yes, episode 9. So, if you haven't watched it, pause this, go watch that. Come back here, unless you enjoy being spoiled. You all have been warned.
Now you'll see.
All right, guys. So yes, we're talking about not just the season finale, but the series finale.
Yeah.
So
Super serious.
that's it. According to Kevin Feige, there are no plans for a season 2 for WandaVision.
Which, how would they do it?
Yeah, because that go. Also, I guess we can get into how this whole thing is kind of out of sorts because of coronavirus and all this stuff. Because okay, so let's just talk about the 800-pound elephant in the room.
800 pounds.
All of the fan theories that got busted. So man, there's a meme that I shared with Captain America, like in Spider-Man. He's like, so you had some fan theories, did you?
They were nice while they lasted.
Yeah. So there's two competing ideas out there right now, and one of them is they fanned the trolls. They trolled the fans so hard, and they deserved it because fans are what's wrong with the movies and the industry right now, and all this and all that. But then there's the other side that's actually what I think is the truth, and things just ran away from them because there's a lot. So basically, WandaVision, because of coronavirus, we had this giant MCU drought where we're supposed to get Black Widow, we were supposed to get Falcon and the Winter Soldier first, and then we were supposed to get Eternals, and then we were supposed to get WandaVision. So we were supposed to have like several other properties to put WandaVision in context for this first phase or whatever, phase 4, I guess.
Is this phase 4?
No, it's surely not. It's phase 5, I guess. It's starting a new chapter, so maybe phase 1 of the new
Avengers. This is 5.
5, yeah, okay. So yeah, this is the beginning of a new phase either way. Whereas we were already supposed to be at least 3 or 4 properties in already to kind of give context to WandaVision. But all the fans are chomping at the bit. Everybody's excited, and we don't know what to think of the new phase and where we're going and what to look into. And the only source we have are really, really weird Wanda and Vision comics that go way out there.
So far out there.
Yeah, and so all of the jokes and all of the casting and everything for this show was basically finalized in 2019, like 2 years ago. And then they filmed it throughout 2019 and 2020, and they had no idea how these jokes were going to land in 2 years, especially with this giant drought and everybody's chomping in the bit, and WandaVision becomes the biggest show in America, and and so everybody's reading into everything because we don't know the context of what we're seeing.
I had nothing.
Yeah, and so I guess that it just comes back to that. And to me, is that there are publicists that their job is to manage expectation and publicity and fan and all the fandom and all the well, not necessarily the fandom, but the audience.
Yeah.
And you have to know part of the art is knowing your audience. Like that's a very big part of it. Because, you know, you can't just throw stuff out there in a vacuum like we do with this show. Where we're talking to nobody or a handful of people. But we're talking to fans. We're talking to fans, right?
I don't know what I'm doing with my hands.
Most people don't. So, yeah. So, I mean, there's no way they could have known how it was going to hit. However, once a property is out there, it's the producer's role, it's the director's role to get out there and basically manage fan expectation and where it's going, advertising and all this kind of stuff. And then you've also got the press junkets where you've got your actors going out and speaking, and they're given talking points. And so Paul Bettany kind of got out in front of them and trolled us a little bit. Was having a little bit of fun and made a little joke, but then once he made it, it was kind of hard to take back, but he said it several times that there was a big cameo coming. And then there was the confirmation, quote unquote, from Elizabeth Olsen that she said that a reporter asked her if there was a Luke Skywalker level cameo coming, like as akin to The Mandalorian. And she said, yeah. Yeah, and so maybe, I don't know if she said that before or after Paul Bettany said his thing, or if she just didn't understand how big Luke Skywalker was to the fandom as compared to if she was talking about Evan Peters, who was great, but he's no Luke Skywalker level cameo. Surely she... Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to accuse her of anything. She's perfect.
She's perfect. He paused and just went perfect.
But she knows her character very well. And so I don't know how deep she is into the fandom and all that kind of, I don't think she's on social media or anything like that. So she might be out of the loop. But she's very in tune with her character and Wanda's story, because she's been the one since at least 2016 pushing the House of M, trying to get this storyline that they touched on and delved into with this season.
Touched on.
Yeah. And referenced a lot. And so you've got that. And then you've got Teyonah Parris that's hyping up the aerospace engineer cameo, saying, "I can't wait for you guys to meet." So it seems like she was kind of trolling us a little bit too, or playing with us a little bit. But things just kind of spiraled out of control. And director Matt Shakman was asked about it directly, and he basically said, Paul
dug your hole, now lie in it.
Yeah, basically just threw Paul Bettany out there and was just like, you did this to yourself. I'm going to let him answer that. And he almost seemed irritated that expectation had got out in front of the show and basically almost set them up to fail, as in the fans' eyes, where they're expecting all these big things, where he even had to come out and say, I think people are going to be disappointed, so just manage your expectations, before the last episode aired, because it seemed like the season kind of peaked in episode 8.
Yep.
And then, everybody was like, how are they going to wrap all this up? And then, they're going to need more episodes and more of this and more of that. But there really wasn't a lot to wrap up. And which is one reason why it's like several days later and we're just now filming our hot take on WandaVision, because I had to process things.
If anything, they took a nice, neat little bow and cut it. And it's like, here's all these loose ends. Have fun. Bye, kids. And then when said, well, you got a week before Falcon Winter Soldier comes out. Bye, kids. And then just keep saying bye, kids. Every time.
Yeah, because, we were supposed to get WandaVision and Doctor Strange 2, like, within only a few months of each other.
Yeah, back to back.
Yeah, I think 3 to 6 months or something like that. and they're directly tied to each other, but they're still filming Doctor Strange 2 right now, and we won't see it for another year at least. And so there's a lot of open-ended things and a lot of speculation, and I mean, mark my words, there's going to be a lot of fan theories that, because there's a lot of time to speculate.
Yep.
And it's going to get crazy. And Marvel's going to have to step in and say, all right, guys, it's not this, or we'll get the other movies that add the context, you know?
You know what movie we won't get though? Black Widow.
I mean, I'm not sure that Eternals isn't finished by now. I mean, granted, it's a giant epic, but it should have already been out. And most of that, well,
I feel like at least a good third or maybe half of it's finished, because some of that stuff is going to have to be in studio, even though they're filming on location.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. The only reason WandaVision finished early was because they had already wrapped all their location stuff and they went into the studio. But Falcon and the Winter Soldier were still shooting locations, and that's why they took longer. Eternals, they were making a point not to do a lot of it in studio because they wanted that real epic raw feel. And so maybe that's why they're still waiting, or they hadn't even announced that one's done yet. I can't imagine how much post-production CGI and all that kind of stuff they got to put in.
So much.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
A lot. Because it's supposed to be like an epic saga where it just covers like tens of thousands of years or millions of years, maybe. Just a huge epic saga that covers a lot of time and a lot of distance and a lot of locations. And you're talking about like setting up the entire lore of gods and monsters and
a whole
humanity.
Mythos that regular watching fans are not ready for.
Yeah. which is probably going to give a lot of context to WandaVision, because the Darkhold is Chthon, which is based on Cthulhu, which is, you've
heard that name before several times. I'm sure.
Yeah, especially with HBO's show
Lovecraft Country. Ugh.
Especially that referenced, which is amazing.
Yes.
So yeah, Chthon is one of the elder gods, and not to get into it too much, but he's one of the evil elder gods that basically crafted the Darkhold, and it's kind of like the One Ring on Lord of the Rings.
This guy's the Lord. He's the god of chaos.
Yes. The god of chaos. And that book is like where his soul resides, kind of, and he has to be resurrected, which is like why this show talked a lot about resurrection. And and I guess we can just go ahead into it. Is Agatha talked about how Wanda didn't know what she had unleashed and what she had done, because there were so many references to the devil.
So many.
Which is why the whole Mephisto thing came, and even Paul Bettany was like, oh, I can't speak on that because I'm afraid of getting fired. So, I mean, it's either Mephisto or it's Chthon, because even when you look at the page in the Darkhold that has Wanda, there are tentacles coming off of it, and Cthulhu is the octopus looking thing, and Chthon is the same. He's got tentacles and stuff.
I'll say this, and I'm gonna touch on it. I'm gonna like skid a rock across it real fast so it doesn't fall into the water. If Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was still connected to the MCU, I would say it's Mephisto, because Ghost Rider had the Darkhold last time we saw him, and then that's it. But since it's a different looking Darkhold, and it appeared in this way, and the stuff with Agatha, that, what was it, when she got took to the stake, they said Harbinger of Chaos?
Yes.
Yeah.
They said the Scarlet Witch, the Harbinger of Chaos. It's foretold. So
yeah,
I'll let you finish up your...
Oh, yeah. So I feel like it's going to be Chthon, or they could, do the thing that they like to do and remix characters and frustrate frustrate me while they do it. Sorry, microphone. And he be Confist or or Midithon? I don't know.
Mephisticon.
That sounds like a transformer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Optimus be up there. It's Mephisticon.
Mare.
Mephisticon Mare. No.
Because it was rumored for a while that Nightmare was the big bad for Doctor Strange too. And so they're mixing property, or not properties, but I guess characters here, which the MCU likes to do is remix stuff. It makes it easier for the casual fan to get into, to realize because you've got characters that are basically they're very similar, but they have different motivations and different backstories and stuff.
How is Whiplash and Crimson Dynamo similar?
They're both Russian. I don't know. The Iron Man 2 character.
There's a whole video about this somewhere out there that we haven't done yet. It's so upsetting. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, so Mephisto's basically the devil, but I mean, I guess it's a different mythos because you've got the Lovecraft country, which is, I mean, the dark elder gods, which is like the devils that created the universe or whatever.
Space monsters.
Yeah. And so it's a different creation theory, I guess, but it's of course sci-fi stuff. So it's like Cthulhu is based more on H.P. Lovecraft stuff, and Mephisto is based more on like the
regular devil.
Yeah, the regular, devil, Christian devil, and Christian religion and stuff like that. So that's where it's kind of like in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. mixed them a little bit. But Mephisto is directly connected to Ghost Rider and different characters that get their power from the devil and righteousness and all that kind of stuff. Whereas Cthulhu is more tied into sci-fi stuff where it also leads into werewolves and vampires, which will also potentially lead into Blade.
Give me the Howling Commandos. It's all I want.
So that's a whole thing with just managing expectation, I guess, and because there's a lot out there to sort through, and they're going to have to give us context, because maybe they're just going to sit back and let it happen and just kind of let people. That's what they did. Yeah, ride the wave and everything.
Let us know in the comments how you felt about the overall episode.
Yeah,
were you?
Because
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, because there was room for disappointment if you were riding the high of all these theories and all this kind of stuff. Sorry, microphone. But if you, like, I had to go back and let my mind calm down and step away from the disappointment for the fan theories and where I thought it was going, and then rewatch it based on the reality of what it actually, I say what it actually told us, which was a much smaller, condensed story that was based directly on Wanda and her relationship to Vision. And it was very, very good. It was very good either way. But they also dropped a lot of hints. Yeah. And so there's a difference between an animator or a set decorator putting in little things in the background, Easter eggs and stuff like that. Like you remember in Spider-Man Far From Home, there was a ship that passed by and it said ASM like 112 or something like that. And it was a reference to a certain comic book that they referenced. And they did a lot of that in WandaVision as well. So there are Easter eggs and there are plot choices, and they are completely different. They're completely different, And
there are many differences in these different things.
yes, exactly. And so like Easter eggs and little set deck things and animation things are just references, but they're not telling you this is what it's about. This isn't the plot. Unless you have a character or the camera focused on something significant, like lingering on Mr. Scratchy.
Or,
Scratchy.
a cicada on the blinds.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I guess going back, that could be, okay, so like the devil's in the details, and that's not all he is, and all that, like direct references, the Darkhold, direct references to certain characters and certain lores in the comic universe. Those can be considered, those are plot items, like those are purposeful choices made by the creators, the director, the writer, the producer, the cinematographer. They're the storytellers. They're telling where it's going, And but then you've got all these little Easter eggs and stuff, and they're just like fun little references and that kind of thing. But so there's a difference, and if you go back, there are still a lot of references to Mephisto, to Chthon, and a greater big bad than Wanda.
Yeah. I can't even think of one off the top of my head. Nope, can't think of one. But there's so much in this show. Overall, I would have to say I'm not disappointed. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the show and then was enjoying the ride. And like I said, I was going to say it was Nightmare until it wasn't Nightmare. Yeah. And then, after that final end credit scene, I was like, all right, well, maybe it's not Nightmare. So that was the only thing I would say I'd have to be disappointed on. Mm-hmm. But from White Vision, Fighting Vision, to Wanda versus Agatha, everything was great. I had a lot of fun watching the show from episode 1 when it was the 50s, and then it made a slight change to the 60s in the second episode, to everything. It was an enjoyable ride that if you are a casual fan, you probably didn't like, because you're like, this is weird. I don't know what's happening. Why is he choking? What is this? Who is Wanda? Who is V. Sean? And why he's skipping out on taking care of his kids?
Oh my God.
But yeah, overall, the show is good. And they did a lot of hold on. A lot of hat tipping in this. Yeah, that was gross. In the show. So applaud to everybody who was a part of it. I don't appreciate being trolled, but it was still good. The one thing that I took out of this episode, though, was Wanda's fate for Agatha at the end of it all, and how she gave her a fate way worse than death. She trapped her, she hexed her, and she's now trapped in the town. And I feel like Agatha was answering her like this is the tone I have to talk to you in, but this is the tone I have to talk to you in, but I'm really meaning it, like I hate you. So, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, like, not if I see you first.
Not if I see you first, dear. Yep, that's going to be. So I'm looking forward to that. Another slight Easter egg, I don't know if you've seen this around the internet, her outfit of like the side-by-side comparison from Magneto's outfit from Days of Futures Past and her outfit in this movie, in the show. Yeah. Yeah. It has some elements. I'm not saying, I'm not saying no.
Yeah, and I mean, that could be a coincidence, but it's a nice little comparison.
Nice little comparison, yeah.
Yeah, because in the MCU, or not in the MCU, but in the comics, at one point, Magneto was her father.
Yeah.
especially in the House of M. That he's played a very large role in that.
And there are several TV shows and things, and I think like one comic, where it's like they go to the somebody, doesn't matter who, it's always a different X-Men. Sometimes Professor Xavier travels to like a distant future and sees like this last resistance unit, and Wanda's there wearing his helmet, cape, and all that, and she still has her power. It's just, I'm Magneto.
She's the leader of the resistance.
Leader of the last Brotherhood.
There's a lot of different even though Wanda is the same, like she's a Nexus being, she's the same. There's a lot of different versions where she takes different paths in other timelines. And that also leads into like, okay, so they made a very big point to show that Wanda was not the same as Agatha, and she doesn't purposely hurt people or anything like that. And then as soon as she realizes that she's actually hurting people, because she thought these people that were at peace in their head, or maybe she was trying to make herself believe that, but as soon as she was confronted with that and realized or choking them or whatever, she put a stop to it.
Yeah.
And chose the greater good. Whereas, like she said, Agatha did it on purpose and knew what she was doing and still went through with it and chose herself over the greater good. It's different for Marvel to not kill off the bad guy, and it's smart, but this might be a little dark for somebody that's supposed to be a hero. Just like Agatha pointed out, heroes don't torture people, even though she's a bad guy. Yeah. Like that's a whole. There's also a whole debate within the MCU or the Marvel universe is like what to do with the bad guys. Is it okay to send them to the negative zone and let them
rot?
Yeah. Or are they people and they should be, rehabilitated or whatever,
Yeah. Who is it? It's well, not in the MCU, but Hank Pym used to try and rehabilitate villains and everything. Like when they would get sent to the cube, he would go there and try to give them counseling sessions, or if they got their powers from like an accident, like Nuclear Man, they're like, oh, here, let me try and help you get this radiation out your body so you can be fine and everything. And then it gets to a point where either they're like, okay, yeah, sure, help me, or they're like, no, I like this. I like power. I don't know why you're actually here.
Yeah, because to a certain extent, all the villains are like they are because of trauma. But I guess it's a choice whether they
use power for good or evil.
Yeah.
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 Whether you become Spider-Man or Green Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
Also, backtracking a little bit. Speaking of choking, this is the joke I had earlier. Ralph. We met Ralph finally.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Ralph Boner?
Boner.
We met Ralph.
That's another thing that I think, as far as like choices that they made to cast Evan Peters, and even in the audio description, it makes a point to say it is the Quicksilver, or it's the Pietro from the X-Men universe, which seemed like confirmation to all the fans that this is the multiverse. Like they are bringing in the X-Men. This is it. So, I mean, and that is a choice to cast that person, and then and maybe the descriptive thing was just something that slipped through the cracks.
Yeah.
But man, was it the perfect storm?
Yeah, it was. I was like, oh, all right, all the things are about to happen. Okay, who else is coming in?
And then to just kind of like let it ride, and that's the thing I was talking about, like with no context. Like whereas if we had seen the Eternals and known, because potentially the Eternals will set up how mutants are in the MCU. because that is a big element of the Eternals and those characters, and how they create mutants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so with that context, it might have been, we would have been in on the joke potentially. With it being a recast and that type of thing, and only a reference to how sitcoms recast folks in the middle of the thing. We would have kind of been in on it. Yeah. But waiting for something, hey Ghost, waiting for something big to happen, a Luke Skywalker level cameo, and with the kind of on the assist of Evan Peters showing up, really kind of got things feeling like they were going to go a certain way, and they didn't, only to show this dude's name was Ralph Boner, which was a nod to a sitcom with Growing Pains. Was it Mike Seaver? Mm-hmm. Kirk Cameron's character, his best friend's name was Boner. Yeah, and Matt Shackman was actually in Growing Pains growing up. When he was a child actor, so that was another little thing. So I mean, I get it, but in the moment and everything going on and not knowing what to think of it, yeah, it looks like a giant nod to, hey, this is where we're going.
A lot of hats off.
Yeah.
A lot of them. Yeah, it was. And also, how did he have powers? Like, is Agatha able to just give anyone powers if that's the case?
There's a lot of unanswered questions, because if she could just so easily give people powers, then why didn't she just give the townspeople powers when they were pissed at Wanda and take Wanda out like that? And she just gets to sit back and soak up the power.
And then Wanda could be like, oh, I'm still in the Hex. And then she summons all the other Avengers that are also Hex babies. And then I get my Avengers cameo and I feel better. But no.
Yeah, like that's a whole another question. It's like, well, okay, so I guess an answer for the Agatha thing could be that is a more difficult magic, and it had to be tied to a relic, which was tied to him, and it had to work that certain way. But then also, as far as like, where are the Avengers in context with knowing that this happened like weeks after Endgame, and everybody is still kind of reeling, and they just got back, just like Wanda, and everybody's dealing with their own stuff.
Weeks after Endgame.
Yeah. And so that could be a thing. Plus the fact that this all happened inside of a week. And so it could have happened and been over before they even heard about it. But
is it possible that this was happening the exact same time as Far From Home?
No, actually, Far From Home happened the summer trip after school got back in, and so it was several months later. Over the summer, yeah. Okay. And this happened supposedly like toward around October, fall.
Okay.
So in that following summer, after Peter goes back into school.
When did the fight with Thanos happen then? I need a date. Give me a date and a memorial and an Iron Man statue.
It was in the fall, but I don't remember the date exactly. But supposedly this happens in October, especially if you look at Ralph's electric bill or water bill or whatever it is. It shows the October month, and it's even though what's happening inside the Hex is like 2013-ish. The bill says 2025 or 2023, which is like the year that everything went down in Endgame.
Okay.
Yeah, they're hardcore playing with the timeline.
Okay. I guess we'll catch up one day.
Yeah, so I mean, we still have to figure out when, because there are references in Spider-Man Far From Home where like one of the teachers is obsessed with witchcraft, where he's been reading stuff on the internet. Maybe the townspeople are like, they're kind of realizing that there are witches, there are actual witches, and he's freaking out. You know? And because he's like, it's witchcraft. JB Smoove, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's the reference to the alternate universes, and he's like, there are alternate universes, and so that could be another reason why Mysterio was able to sell that so easily, because that's already a thing.
Because it's already actually a thing. Because it's months later. Because they said we want another Spider-Man movie while we can. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm touching my face a lot. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Another thing that happened in the show that was also fun.
Oh, before you go into that,
okay.
with referencing like where the Avengers are and where all that kind of stuff. Also, Doctor Strange, like
Doctor Strange.
He is literally like New Jersey, New York. Like he's across the bay. Like you can take a 15-minute, 30-minute tram over there.
He can also fly.
I mean, I used to live in Brooklyn. Like, it's not that far.
You can do this too.
Exactly, which he never did in Endgame or Infinity War, which
he did.
Well, he did at the end of Endgame, but like when him and Tony were stuck on the ship and he's like, how are we getting home? It's like, bro, you didn't bring your sling ring?
But, you don't even need it.
I mean, I'm saying.
He had the Infinity Stone. He could have been like, okay, hold on. Turn back time to where they were on Earth.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but we won't talk about that. But anyway, so yeah, where was Doctor Strange? Granted, he just came back too, so maybe he's debriefing and with Wong trying to, because surely during that 5 years
they had a new Sorcerer Supreme,
or maybe not. I mean, surely Wong was filling in, or there. Surely without a Sorcerer Supreme, there were things happening.
What's his name?
And
the guy that left the whole place at the end of the Doctor Strange movie.
Mordo?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. What if Mordo was the new Sorcerer Supreme? Or
I don't know, because Mordo was anti-magic. He was kind of like Agatha in that he was, I'm taking it from people who don't deserve it. So maybe he could have sort of kind of been in league with Agatha.
Or maybe he's gonna bring Agatha out of Scarlet Witch's hex.
Yeah, so that's what I kind of think too, is that because if that magic brought Agatha there, that how does Doctor Strange not know about it? And where was he? Why didn't he show up? And we found out Dottie was nobody. She wasn't an agent for him.
Wanda? Dottie. My name is Sarah.
I mean, say nobody. Her character was Sarah Proctor, which is a reference to one of the actual people who were in the Salem witch trials.
Crucible? Why does that come to mind?
I don't know.
I think she's also. It's a play about the Salem witch trials. So I remember reading it at school. Okay.
Yeah, I missed that one.
Don't read it.
So surely he's keeping an eye on that. That's his job. But like you said, there's probably some management issues going on with him coming back and them sorting out what's been happening and what potentially could have not been kept in check during those 5 years, because it did get dark, like Hayward said. I mean, like they could go back and say, hey, all these Avengers were gone, all the heroes were gone, and things just got dark. You know, he's like, you didn't know what we had to do to keep the lights on.
The folks who were left, they were stretched thin. Like Captain Marvel was just basically doing the whole galaxy by herself. War Machine out there, like Tony just said he retired. I'm washing my hands of it. Captain America was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna have support groups.
Yeah, Hawkeye's out killing mafiosos.
Hawkeye's out there being his best life. I guess that's his best life. That man was, and nobody was like, yeah, let's just go stop Hawkeye. They're like, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. They had to manage their resources.
They had to prioritize Hawkeye going out killing mafia, earthquake.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's basically the Punisher now, so.
Yeah. The Punisher has a garden. Like, yeah, everything was crazy.
With Thanos. He's sharing secrets and recipes and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, there was a lot going on. And so maybe that's where Doctor Strange was. However, this does, like, unleashing the god of chaos seems like a big deal. Like he should have been there or something. Like, at least the end credit scene where, I mean, they did kind of name drop him. And well, they did say, she said the Sorcerer Supreme. She didn't say Doctor Strange.
They name dropped his title.
Yeah.
That might not be his title no more. He might just be Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, technically, was he actually named Sorcerer Supreme in the MCU?
Yes.
Was he?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Because he had the Eye of Mara Morto. And yeah, once you get that, you are the Sorcerer Supreme.
Okay. Because I know he never let go of it. But
he still has the case.
That's true. That's true. I mean, we saw him in his sanctum in Greenwich Village doing his thing, but I mean, I guess we never saw beyond that. But he did say that I keep a list of
in Ragnarok. Yeah,
Loki was on the list,
and he like was explaining everything to Thor, and Thor was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever. What is this place?" As he's like, "Yeah,"
as he drinks his giant bottomless beer,
and he's like, "Oh, all right, you're fun. You're real fun." That's exactly all that scene was.
Yeah, because I mean, if Loki just being in the area was enough to him get involved, then surely the Scarlet Witch
is
the harbinger of chaos showing up on the scene would have spiked on his radar. Or just the fact that she can just walk off and Monica's like, good luck. And after all this, she means well. Y'all don't be mad.
Doctor Strange running through the sanctorum. Wong, where's my super suit?
I am the greatest good. Oh my God. Who got my shoes?
Where's my cape? It's in the dry cleaners. Why? Why is it in the dry?
It's alive. Oh my God. And then also like the end credits scene where she's just off by herself. I don't know if she's at Mount Wundagore or if she's in Sokovia. It's very reminiscent of the end of the Incredible Hulk movie where he's off on his own trying to grasp his own power. And she's kind of like the Hulk in that she's got power that she has trouble containing and has to go off on her own. And so they kind of got already somebody like that. Yeah. But like the way it was shot with Sam Raimi having directed The Evil Dead and also directing Doctor Strange 2.
Yes.
With the follow in and like disembodied spirit following.
It was really fun. I enjoyed it.
Man.
I was like, oh.
So she's out there just letting her do her thing. And Doctor Strange is like, oh, she'll be fine. Like, I don't buy it.
He's like,
they've spoken. Surely. He's been like, Wanda, do I need to worry about you?
She turns the page. No.
Yeah, and she's obviously more powerful than him because she's astral projecting and she's not asleep. She's just making tea.
She's making tea while her astral self's sitting there studying dark stuff.
Yeah.
And growing tentacles.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is like she is not a bad guy when she leaves Westview, but having studied the Darkhold and being using that magic could corrupt her, could very well corrupt her. And that's a whole thing. That's a whole trope too, is like, you know, being called by Ghost Rider and all of them, you know, being called by, given appointed powers by a bad guy, but then using it against the bad guy.
Yeah.
Wonder Man did it. Like a lot of heroes have done that. Yeah. And Skrulls. The Skrulls thing actually, I guess, turned out to be a thing.
Apparently, the one thing that we're right on the money with. Also, this was one thing, I don't know if you saw it. Hayward, when they were in the town, he didn't look right. Like, so he was up there, and I don't know if it was just meant because he was supposed to be panicking, but like it looked like he got this blank expression on his face once everybody was in there. The kids just disarmed all the guards and everything. Then he was just like, and then he got in the truck, and then he went off and didn't seem to like come back to himself until the truck got hit. And I don't know why.
I don't know, because when Darcy hit him and she said, like, have fun in jail or prison, and he just kind of glared at her. So I don't know if that was just him actually just getting to be himself finally, or if it was like an outside influence. But I mean, that's a good point. It's just, he did kind of just like he started shooting at children. Yeah, like that's a new level.
That's a new level. Started shooting at children, and then like anytime,
unless he just didn't see them as children, they're just apparitions or whatever, you know.
That'd be fine if like he didn't keep pulling the trigger. Yeah, like, he kept pulling it like 3-5 more times.
Yeah, even though Monica jumped out there, and he obviously knows Monica is real or whatever, but
so something was up with him. I don't know what.
Yeah, maybe just the fact that I'm busted. I'm not going down like that, you know. This is the whole Bonnie and Clyde thing.
I mean, man, if that's the case, eat a grenade. I don't know. Don't eat a grenade. But yeah, so and then he didn't have.
You're not the guy to fall on the grenade.
He didn't get any scratches. I don't know. Now I'm reading too much into it. We'll come back.
But that's what we do. Yeah, theory craft, and that's to me that's the fun of it. Is like, even though we're gonna like get too far out there, and then reality's gonna set in, and it was fun. It was fun. Like the whole ride, the whole experience is fun. The slow burn from week to week where we don't know what's going on, and man, I love that. Especially talking with you guys and talking with each other and other friends, what's going on, what this is and what that is, and it could be this and it could be that. Like, man, that's a lot of fun.
Could be nightmare until it's not nightmare. Still might be nightmare.
Yeah, because we trust Kevin Feige, who has not really had a rotten one yet, you know. Like you, I mean, as far as like just one that's just solid rotten. Yeah, there's been some dips, like, you know, Captain Marvel wasn't the best one, or, you know, that kind of thing. But there haven't been like horrible where it's just like, what the hell was he thinking? You know, there hasn't been one where everybody was just like, wow, Marvel's done. This is it.
No, I think Thor: The Dark World might be their actual lowest point.
I actually enjoyed that one though. I like the weird ones.
It's fun to watch, but I feel like it was too weird too soon. Because now we're like like you said, we're 10 years in. Weird is the next step.
Yeah.
It's either weird or space, but they're doing both. So here we go.
Here we go. I was not expecting witchcraft. The Spanish Inquisition, I was not expecting. So yeah, we can do a whole different video talking about where we think it's going. But man, those are our thoughts on the episode. Still a lot of unanswered questions, like who is the missing person, the whole Senor Scratchy thing, which was kind of answered by a cut scene by the director saying that there was a cool scene that ended up having to get cut because it just kind of took away where Senor Scratchy turned into a giant demon and they had like a little Scooby-Doo chase scene thing going on with the kids, Monica and Pietro, after he had been set free. So come on, Scooby-Doo. That would have been hilarious. I would love to see that. That needs to be like a one shot. Like, meanwhile. But yeah, of course they cut it because it took away from the flow and everything, but still pretty awesome. And then where is Vision going, or the new Vision going?
I feel like
lots of questions
video by itself.
Yeah. So we'll probably come back, because there's going to be a lot of time before we catch up with what's going on with Wanda and this side of the MCU, because we're about to go into Falcon and Winter Soldier, where that's the more actiony, and we know what to expect from that. We're not going to get too much into the weird stuff. We know that it's very grounded in reality and politics and all that kind of stuff. So, in the military. So we know what to expect from that. That's probably not going to get too crazy. However, we're probably going to talk about all that. So make sure you click the like button, hit the little bell, subscribe so that you know when we drop new videos. And I've been Dylan.
This is Quinn.
And we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.